Okay. During war times, all the neighbors, they just leave their doors open, so you can just enter your neighbor's house. It's okay. For my neighbors, they didn't evacuate as well. They have their windows down. Here are their windows. And here is the family. They're gathering all together, also in a place far away from the window. I was trying to explain things, but I think you can hear them now. I'll go check on my parents. Now, we're inside the house right now, and literally we can't breathe. That's the view from the window, and I can't keep it open. That's the view from the balcony. There is literally no view. You can't see anything.
So the situation over in Israel is showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, it's only going to get worse. And that's not just something that I am saying for shock value. No, things are going to get worse really quickly. I expect that tonight things are going to be really bad for the people in Gaza. Now, the Israeli death toll right now is sitting at over 1,200. And the American death toll has risen from 11 to 14. And apparently, at the very least, there are 20 Americans still missing. And I think it's safe to assume that most of them probably are either gone or they were taken hostage. But before we dive too deep into what's going on in Israel, I want you all to pause and I want you all to think. Isn't it crazy that a day or two after these attacks in Israel, we already know the death toll? We know how many people are missing. In fact, let me rewind that. We know the death toll on both sides already. We know exactly how many Americans have died. We know approximately around the number of Americans missing. And this is something that happened all the way in another country, right? We know how many people are dead. We know how many people are missing. And we're having no trouble reporting these numbers. Meanwhile, if you have been watching my coverage of the wildfires down in Maui, or even if you haven't been watching my videos and you know what I'm talking about, it's been months since that fire, and we can't get an accurate death toll number. They're not reporting the real numbers of people dead and missing. The numbers are all over the place, and it's been months. So really think about that. It lets you know, this situation over in Israel, it lets you know if they wanted to, they can be brutally honest about the numbers, and they can give them to you in a timely manner. It doesn't take months on end to find out. No, within a few hours, they can have the death toll and the number of missing right there for you. Yet it's been over 2 months since the fires in Lahaina, and we don't know how many people are missing or dead yet. You see, the difference is they want to report these numbers in Israel because they desperately want you to support another war. When it comes to the situation down in Lahaina, they don't want you to know the numbers. They want you to forget about that. They don't want you to focus on that. But make no mistake about it, when you look at the two situations, it's easy to see that, oh, we're competent enough to know the death toll and the number of missing in another country in the fog of war, in the middle of bombs dropping, gunfights happening in the streets. We know exactly how many people have lost their lives, and we know exactly how many people are unaccounted for. Meanwhile, 2 months after a freaking fire in Hawaii, no one knows how many people died. No one knows who's still missing or not. Make it make sense. This just shows you what it is that we're dealing with. When they want to tell you, they can tell you, and best believe they know exactly how many people died and exactly how many people are missing in Lahaina. They're choosing to be dishonest. They're choosing to not be transparent. They're choosing to be all over the place dancing around the truth. But when they want you to know the numbers, when it fits their agenda, they're going to throw the numbers at you. They're going to throw the numbers right in your face to get you riled up for war. I saw reports earlier. They're claiming that 40 babies had their heads lopped off by terrorists. And they found the bodies of 40 babies. Now that's horrendous. It's horrific. It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. But is it true? You have to be careful, people. Because over the coming days and over the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of crazy news stories out there. Some of which are going to be true, some of which are going to be fake, all of which are going to be used to generate more support for this upcoming war. They want to rile you up. They want to play on your emotions. So you're just gung-ho with blowing up people over in the Middle East. That's what they want. And if you are holding any type of hope that America is not going to be all the way involved in this conflict, even though I already told you days ago that we've been involved in this well before it even happened. But if you're holding out hope just in case, I think you should know that just 2 hours ago, the first American planes started landing in Israel carrying ammunition and military supplies for this conflict. So as other countries, their military is flying to Israel, conducting rescue missions to get their citizens and their people out of the country. As other countries around the world, even freaking Mexico is sending planes to Israel to rescue their civilians and their people. But as all of these countries around the world are flying planes over there, picking up their people, conducting these rescue missions, America has not had one single rescue mission. America has not sent one single plane to rescue anyone, but we're sending in planes full of ammunition. Oh, we're sending in the planes full of ammunition, not a single plane to rescue a single soul. It lets you know what our priority is. Our priority is not rescuing innocent U.S. citizens. Our priority is, hey, we need to give these people as many weapons as possible and ensure, the most destruction as possible. They're ready. They're ready for this. This is what they wanted. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that there's a reason why we're dropping off ammo and not picking up our people. We probably want more of our people to be harmed over there. So we have more of an excuse to keep sending weapons. And eventually an excuse to start sending planes. And then eventually another excuse to put boots on the ground. And it's looking like we're ready to get just fully involved in this. Because as I reported to you all, we were already sending aircraft carriers and various other warships to the area. And now, as they're arriving, it turns out that we're getting ready to possibly send even more. The United States is considering deploying a second aircraft carrier, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. You don't just send all of these aircraft carriers. You don't just send a significant portion of your fleet for no reason, people. I guarantee you, and I've already talked about it, give it a couple of days, we're going to be carrying out airstrikes. There's going to be all types of stuff popping off because the situation doesn't show any sign of slowing down. And in fact, they're already saying, hey, you know, we're not stopping. We're not stopping. So you have all of these other countries that are possibly going to get involved. You have all of these other militant militia groups, terrorist groups, possibly going to get involved. And it's crazy how in just a couple of days, this situation has blown up to be taken more serious. Like people are taking this more seriously than the war in Ukraine. And the war in Ukraine has been going on for over a year now. Meanwhile, this just popped off a couple of days ago. But I already see more support from both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans. I see more support for this war than the war in Ukraine. But, I mean, I guess all we can do is sit around and wait on things to play out. I already warned you all, be careful. There's a strong possibility that something may happen in our country soon. I would steer clear of large gatherings if you can. But live life how you want to. Just be aware that we're living in some very dark times. Let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.